Alright guys, so here we are. This is the video that it's been requested of me to do. The comparison between Sony X900E XBR BRAVIA 4K TV 55-inch versus Samsung KS8000 2016 edge-lit 65-inch 4K HDR TV. The one unique difference between the two obviously is the fact that Sony X900E, which you're looking at here, an IMAX clip from The Dark Knight Rises. I will be using this as a reference for the demo. The one unique difference is this is a full array local dimming television, meaning that there isn't any bleeding light from top to bottom, and you can watch this TV from any corner, left and right. You're not going to have that bleeding light effect as you do with Samsung KS8000. I just wanted to point that out for those of you who don't understand the difference between the edge lit and full array local dimming. Both televisions are LCD LEDs. It's just they're using different technique on how they backlit or edge lit emitting their light. One, it's using the edge lit technique, which is top to bottom, and the other one is using a backlit, which is behind the LCD panel. Alright, so let me go ahead, let's do these tests. Right now, what you're looking at here, it's a Sony X900E, and what I'm using pretty much, it's a cinema home picture mode, and this is the mode that I recommend to you guys. Okay, this is, if you have this TV, if you have Sony X900E or 930E, I recommend that you use cinema home mode, and also make sure that you use expert one tone of color, which this cinema home mode definitely does. I'm also going to be using warm one color, which is similar to the expert one color on Sony. It's just they call it different names, so that way they look different, so that way they sound different, but they look pretty much the same. What basically warm one it's doing, it's illuminating, isolating that blue UV light from the television, and you might get a little bit of that warmer tone of color, but it's pretty much the same thing. Anyway, let's do this comparison, shall we? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get my television closer to the camera, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a comparison between the Sony and the Samsung KS8000. Alright. Now this is how you guys are going to know the difference. I'm going to keep it like this. If you see this menu, that means that you are on the Sony television. When you don't see this menu and you see a blue tape menu, then you will know that you are on the Samsung KS8000. And I'm going to also count to seconds so that way you can see the difference. Also keep in mind it's going to be hard for you guys to see the difference through this camera. What I'm basically trying to do here is I'm trying to give you my own honest opinion on what I'm seeing. Okay, I know that it's impossible for you guys to see what I'm seeing through a camera lens. I'm doing this video because you want me to tell you. This is a request. You want me to tell you my own experience with my own two eyes, the difference that I'm seeing. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do that. Okay, so what I basically did here, I brought my camera a little bit closer to the television so you guys can see it. Alright, remember we are on Sony here right now, cinema home mode. So in about 4 seconds, I'm gonna switch back to a Samsung KS8000, and then we're gonna do some comparison. I'm also gonna pause the video as well. There will be some video that's gonna be paused. I'm gonna pause it so that way you guys can observe the detail a little bit better. Alright, so let's go ahead. Let's switch back to Samsung KS8000 in about 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so here we are on a Samsung KS8000, and the one thing that's very visible here, and I don't know if my camera can depict this, is that this television, it's very bright, meaning that this television has that over 1000 nits of peak brightness, and that's something that definitely brings HDR to life. So, and it's also on the warm 1 color. You see, I left it on the warm 1 color. So Samsung KS8000, one unique difference you will notice is the fact that it has that higher peak brightness, and that higher peak brightness definitely helps HDR. However, the one problem is when you turn off the lights and you're watching this movie, let's say somebody's sitting on the left side, somebody's sitting on the right side, and you turn off the lights, you will notice that bleeding light from top to bottom. You will notice that when there's a certain objects moving, a certain pictures with a light emitting on the movie, like for example when these cops LEDs lights start flashing, you will definitely notice in the dark room from top to bottom, you will notice that, you know, bleeding light. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna turn off my lights so you guys see what I'm talking about. Now we're gonna look at both TVs in the dark rooms when the lights are off. Now it's gonna be difficult for you guys to see, but you see right here, top to bottom, you definitely notice that, you know, that bleeding edgelet from top to bottom. And this is something that can disrupt the HDR, you know, because the HDR, as much as it needs that peak brightness and full wide color gamut, which this TV has, it also needs those deep dark levels. Now, if this TV, let me tell you something, if Samsung KS8000 or 9000, or in this case 8000 model number, if it had full array local dimming, this would be the perfect TV for 4K HDR, because you would have all the 3 ingredients needed. Okay. Now Sony doesn't have that high peak brightness nits. I think it's roughly around like 800 plus nits, right? Close to 900, 800, 850, something like that. I could be wrong, but I know it's around range of 800. Okay. This TV has over 1000. So that's about 300 extra nits added compared to a Sony version. I don't know if you guys can see it, but you will see when I switch to Sony, you will notice that there's not that much of a bleeding light from top to bottom, because we're not using an edge lit, we're using a full array local dimming LED backlit LCD TV. This is also an LCD TV, but it's using an edge lit backlighting, okay, from top to bottom, and that's the problem. That's why they call it edge lit, because that light is bleeding from the side from top to bottom. And you only notice this when the light is off. When you're watching this in a fully lit up room, you don't notice that bleeding light that much, because there's nothing to reflect when there's everything lit up. The only time you can notice this is when you have everything turned off, room is dark, and then you see this. All right, let's switch back to a Sony X900E in about 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so here now on the Sony television, you don't notice any of that bleeding light from top to bottom, because now you have a television that's equipped with full array of local dimming. Now, I don't know how many local dimming zones this TV has. I should also compare Sony to another full array local dimming television that I have, TCL 55P605. I think TCL has much better local dimming. I think it has more zones. That's what I think so far. I think TCL has about 72 local dimming zones. Don't quote me on it. I could be wrong. Maybe Sony has more, but I think TCL has 72, which I will definitely do that comparison as well. So as you can see right here, the one advantage here, obviously, it's full array local dimming, meaning that you can watch this TV from left and right, from each corner, and the deep dark levels will be excellent. You're not going to have any issues with any kind of bleeding light overbrighting the dark scenes. Okay, on the Samsung, you will notice that, as you will see once I switch back to Samsung KS8000. In terms of peak brightness, obviously we got a little bit lower luminous light here, lower nits of peak brightness, but to me 800 to 900 nits, it's definitely a pretty good amount of nits for HDR. You guys have to remember this television has excellent wide color gamut with excellent X1 processing chip, and I know what you guys want. You guys want me to give you my honest opinion. Here's the deal. You got to ask yourself a couple of questions, because it's going to be you watching this TV, not me. You got to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, are you going to have this TV in your bedroom? Are you going to watch it at night? Are you going to have Samsung KS8000 in your bedroom? Are you going to watch it at night? Are you going to have your lights turned off? To me personally, I would prefer full array local dimming and sacrifice a little less peak brightness nits. Not to the point where it's like below 800, but just within 800 to 900, And this TV gives you that nice balance between deep dark levels and nice peak brightness nits with excellent white color gamut. So my honest opinion, my honest choice would be to go with Sony X900E. Okay. But then again, you also got to remember that you're going to be losing that peak brightness nits that are also important for HDR. And Samsung KS8000 is going to give you a couple of things, and it's very important. It's going to give you those beautiful quantum dot cells, which produces a wonderful full wide color gamut, meaning the color will pop on the screen. And when you have over 1000 nits of peak brightness with quantum dot full wide color gamut coloring ratio, when you add those two ingredients onto a TV, you're going to be getting a beautiful, vibrant HDR. But you're not going to get those excellent deep dark levels due to the edge lit. Here, you're going to get very nice deep dark levels. And I'm not even using full potential of the black level adjustments. This TV even has black level adjustments where you can adjust the deep black level on this TV to even more. Maybe I can show you a little demonstration here really quick. Let me grab my controller and let me go to a picture adjustments. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to move my black levels from 45 to, let's say, 30. And here I got even more of deep dark levels. Look at these deep dark levels here on top of the full array of local dimming. And look what happens when I switch back to Samsung KS8000. Remember, on Samsung KS8000, you don't have black level adjustments. You cannot adjust the deep dark levels here. And that's the one thing that you're going to have to face the consequences, is that you're not going to get those nice deep dark levels with Samsung KS8000. Now, look what happens when I switch back to Samsung KS8000 and look just how much of the bleeding light you're gonna get. And deep dark levels are just gonna look like crap, you know. So let's go ahead and let's switch to Samsung KS8000 2016 version 65 inch in about 3 seconds. Actually, let's do 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here you can see, you know, that bleeding light from top to bottom, that edge lit bleeding light. Obviously, it's not going to give you those deep dark levels. But what you are getting here, let's keep this in mind. What you are getting with Samsung KS8000, you're getting an excellent 2 ingredients. I call them 2 ingredients. They're also very necessary for HDR. Very high peak brightness nits with a stunning wide color gamut, meaning that the colors and that peak brightness together will pop with the HDR here. However, you will sacrifice on the deep dark levels due to the edge lit. If this TV didn't have edge lit, if it was only full array or local dimming, you would be getting, this would be like the highly recommended TV. But this still is a highly recommended TV. There's a reason why I still have this TV. I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit on a deep dark levels just so I can have this beautiful wide color gamut with over 1000 nits of peak brightness. And this is an excellent TV, guys. You're definitely going to be taking a full advantage of 4K and HDR here. However, minus the deep dark levels. You want to go with an OLED? Yes, you can go with an OLED, but guess what? OLED will look great in a dark room. We'll have pitch perfect black deep dark levels. However, once the light comes on, once you have everybody invited to your living room, all the lights are lit up, guess what? It's not going to be as bright as this TV. And I'm not telling you this is the best TV or that's the best TV. Listen, guys, every TV has its positives and negatives. There's no such thing as the perfect TV. Maybe Z9D, I would say, at the moment, or that new prototype Sony X1 powerful chip that's coming pretty soon with 10,000 peak brightness nits and the deep dark levels and the full wide color gamut. I think that's going to be as close as perfection to me personally. But at the moment, Z9D, I would say, is probably the most balanced, perfect TV that you can get. If you can get Z9D, I mean, you pretty much you're set for a few years with that TV. Not few years, maybe 3 years, 3.5 years, but still, you know, it's pretty darn great TV. But the bottom line is, guys, there are no perfect TVs. There's maybe something balanced. I would say Z9D, it's a really well-balanced TV, and it's going to give you that really well-balanced picture quality. But every TV has its minuses and positives. You just got to ask yourself, what is it important to you? If the peak brightness is the important factor, if the full wide color gamut it's an important factor, and you're willing to sacrifice the deep dark levels a little bit, then this is it. Samsung KS8000. If you can't live without those deep dark levels and they're so important to you, then you got to go with a full array of local dimming. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Okay, let's switch back to Sony X900E in about 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we are with the Sony X900E, and obviously the deep dark levels here are much better. There is no bleeding light from the corners because we got the full array of local dimming. But again, you're gonna have to ask yourself this very important question: what's important to you? I think Sony X900E, it's a excellent mid-range, near premium quality Sony television, and it really packs a lot of punch especially if you can get it for like a really cheap price, the price that I got it. I think this is definitely a highly recommended 4K HDR TV. You're not going to go wrong with this TV. It has a lot of cool features, which I'm going to cover in the full review, which I haven't covered here that much, really. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully this comparison that's recorded in 1440p was good enough. All right, guys. But if it wasn't good enough, well, I did my damn best here to do so. All right, guys. Have a good one, though. Take care. I'll see you later. Cheers. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the watching. As always, Mr. 4K Upscaler, out.